Good morning and welcome to a special Morning Java brought to you as always by our friends at the GetGo Cafe+Market, where they are open for business, they are safe, they are clean, and 24 hours a day are producing real live good food made in the kitchen. It's not the way people think of.
Or last minute, if you forgot your pop for Christmas or whatever, you don't want to wait in line, you're in, you're out.
Or that, yeah.
This is where he gets sent if we forget something.
Or that. It's been an unusual year, to say the least. I'm sure it's been a tough year, a tougher year for a lot of you than it has been for us, so I'm not here to complain. But 2020 presented our company with its own set of challenges, obstacles, whatever other euphemism you'd want to use to describe it. But
also some good things.
But also some good things. I'm not sure how. Actually, I kind of am sure how, but I'll get to that in the second segment. But we were able to add to the site. We brought back Pitt coverage. We brought back Penn State coverage. We brought back Duquesne coverage. We added Tom Reed for big league, big time features that only someone of Tom's caliber can produce. These are things that we weren't offering to our readers previously in terms of written content, and
podcasts. Don't forget podcasts.
That's what I was about to.
You would have never found the time to come up with the idea, or the staff wouldn't have had the time to actually produce the podcast. When you cut out the travel and you cut out the usual grind, it freed up some creative time.
Yeah,
and that's where the podcast came in. And it turns out, you were telling us you all loved them. We should have been doing them all along.
Yeah.
So it's one of those feel really stupid, didn't think of it before kind of things.
Yeah, I think so. The podcasts have been a good thing for us as a business. They've been well received by you, and we're grateful for that. More than anything, we got through the year.
Yeah.
As a business.
It was touch and go.
We got through it as a staff, and we got through it as a community. And we didn't even mention this. What's the one thing that we worked the hardest on all year long? See how quickly you've forgotten?
Well, that was the beginning of the pandemic. That was the first strain.
Yeah, and it took until
the vaccine.
August and September, whatever, for us to finally roll out the new app, and that's obviously gotten some good feedback from people as well. And I'd like to think that because we were able to not only weather 2020, but become stronger for it, that 2021 is going to be really, really something special.
I'm excited for it. I mean, it can't possibly be worse.
Okay, there's your there's your credo, right? Couldn't possibly be worse. We'll touch that on the way out to the field.
Couldn't work any harder, and it can't possibly be worse. So, I mean, I really am excited for it. I feel like we're surrounded by the right people. We feel like we're doing the right things. We're getting good feedback from our readers, and we'll just
best staff we've ever had. I got to say that out loud here. Best staff we've ever had. It took a while, but it tends to do that at startups. I made passing mention of the community, but only because I wanted to use a whole segment for that. In the past 4 weeks or so, ever since we mentioned that we're giving out free subscriptions to anybody who has experienced a hardship in the pandemic, we have been floored on both ends of this. Hearing from people who are in need, who are way too proud. They don't even ask. They don't even ask for the free subscription. They just say this is the circumstance because they can't bring themselves to, because of the pride and everything. And that's been part of our challenge, is to make sure that we're getting in touch with people who have either been forced to cancel or had their subscriptions lapse, and we reached out to them.
Well, there is a comment section in a cancellation where I can see
only you see that.
But I cry once to twice a day. And I'm not exaggerating. And sometimes, a lot of you heard me say that in emails back to you. I have never been more touched and humbled and restored all faith in humanity as I had over these past weeks. And it's this little factory that's happening in our living room where Dan has his corner where he always sits. He becomes part of the furniture, basically. He's from March on. He hasn't moved from that chair. So that part stayed the same. But now we're adding, Dara's home from school, and here I am there. We're like a disassembly line on a couch. So we're reading each other these emails.
Out loud.
And it's like, I have tears in my eyes. I'm making them cry. And every one of them is like, you would think that it's the only one of its kind. And then it comes another, and the third, and the 10th. And I can't believe it. And then, there's a knock on a door, and it's my next door neighbor. And like, oh my God, you're never going to believe this. And we're
then
reading
she
it to
hears the
her.
emails.
And it was just, I really don't know what to say, and how there are no words to thank every one of you who have either kept your subscriptions to support us, and hopefully we bring you a little bit of distraction from everything else crazy that goes on, to every one of you who donated one subscription to 10 to 20 to 100. It's just amazing. And now I actually do have the work cut out for me. And I can't keep up with distributing them as fast as we're getting them.
Yeah.
So that's basically my goal through the end of the year.
We're processing everything by hand. And again, like the construction of this studio, when I say we, I mean she.
I mean, his
my daughter,
contribution
Dara.
is copying and pasting the direct messages, and communicating directly with the readers. And then after that is the assembly line. He's pushing it over to me. And I'm pushing it over to Dara. So there's every single one of us in this family has touched every one of those moments, and it was just amazing. That's the best Christmas.
Yeah, at the other end of this, and you touched on them, but I really want to elaborate. At the other end of this are the people who've given. There are people who have been fortunate through this time and have done well for themselves financially, and we hear a lot of that. And they have contributed without, my goodness, not a single name. Like nobody says, "Hey, put my name on this" or whatever. It's the exact opposite. It's like, this is I just want to do something. I want to keep people inside this community that we've built here. It's been amazing. This company is now 6.5 years old. It still feels like it just started like yesterday.
Many things are no different now than they were 6 years ago, and that's.
We have a nicer studio.
It's just different. I like the other one and the other one, and I liked every one of them. I liked the one that was in our basement when we first started. Like
the one that was just me in front of the media guides.
I mean, that was our house.
Actually, wait a second. It's really not all that different.
It's really not all that different.
But
we were talking about it, because my first reaction to when this wave of paying forward happened is like, wow, I have to process all of this manually. How I'm going to find the time to do it? And then every minute that I spent doing this brought me right back to 2014, when absolutely everything that was happening was me doing it manually. And it reminded me what I think is the most special thing about our business.
What got it started, what got it off the ground.
It's the fact that him and I are daily in direct contact with our readers, and no matter how medium, big, small, or whatever size we get, I don't want that. I don't want to lose that. Ever.
Actually, you cried over this.
I did, and I'm going to do it again.
This,
and I'm going to do it again because it's my favorite thing
about
it.
She doesn't ever want it to get too big.
No, I don't, because it's the meetups.
When that happens and we start farming out our customer service to Bangladesh and so forth, it's not going to be the
not that there's anything wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with Bangladesh.
And this is disintegrating, and it's disintegrating.
We're very grateful. Let's put it that way. We're very grateful to everybody who's contributed, everybody who's stuck with us. One of the things that you learn in business, not that I ever learned business, but I learned from people who learned business, is that you want to keep the people that you have. It's way more challenging and difficult and expensive and everything else to go find new customers.
Well, plus in this case, if you're not keeping the people that you have, it's suggesting that you're not doing a good job.
Yeah. And
with the product that you're making.
I'm going to be honest here, the ones that have touched me the most, and I don't mean to rank them here or whatever, but the ones that have touched me the most have been the people who they got free subscriptions back from us back in March and April, and then they came back and said, hey, things really turned around for me, and now I want to buy it for somebody else. Or those who've gotten military subscriptions over the years, or first responders was another one that came, or someone who served in a voting, Susie, from the voting Elections Bureau of Allegheny County reached out. These are people who know that they're part of something and are proud to be part of it, and we're very happy and grateful to have all of you, especially after all this.
but not to forget, and in the same exact manner, the group of our sponsors and the companies that support us very similarly have been with us, most of them, from the very beginning.
It's amazing.
And so,
Like
every one of the sponsors,
we were nothing, and
right.
they're still, and
they
they
believed
came
in us
aboard.
before we did. Yeah,
They came aboard like at the beginning. If we start naming names, we're going to get in trouble here because we'll forget something and be mad at ourselves.
but even in a few cases that we lost our sponsors, it wasn't by forever. It was explaining and understanding the circumstance and how COVID has affected them, and how when the water finds its level, they'll be back, and we've done, and we're going to continue to do stuff for free for them, for other businesses locally. I was really proud when you came up with the idea about supporting small businesses around town, because I know
we just did it.
I know that took time.
We just did. Marko and I did it so that we could get free fries every time we stop at Wiener World. That's the only reason. Denny, admit it. That's why we did it.
Probably there's a little bit of truth in that.
So we wouldn't be good parents if we didn't try to embarrass those two guys on camera. For those who remember, this is Dara and Marko. They're now grown-ups. Dara's about to be 20 years old in a month, which is really bad.
Whoa, what?
And yeah. When did you stop counting? And that guy over there is 16 now, and I'm excited to have everybody back together for Christmas. Dara was in school for a whole year, and now we have both the noise and the mess back in our place, so that's all good.
You know what's funny is as much as we all complain about the way this year went, we did things, all four of us in our place, that I don't know that we would have done. We went on our Jeopardy binges, R.I.P. Alex. We have gone for walks. We've done things in the middle of the night. It's been a different kind of year in that regard. Every once in a while, you guys could be reminded that we don't actually work 17, 18 hours a day. Although, we've kind of gotten back to that.
You know what though? But it does. I'm thankful that I like them. Like actually like hanging out with them. I was just trying to imagine if they were annoying kids, or right. Like it's actually fun to be around them, and because we're kind of living on top of each other, and we work together all day long, and we just hang out together. And as of late, Marko and Dara have been cooking, which is really cool.
Well, our baby went to North Carolina for school, the school of her dreams.
Yeah, it's a big year.
And
managed to stay there the whole time.
And managed to stay there and somehow not catch anything.
Yeah.
And everything else. What was that like?
They handled it really well, and I'm really fortunate that my school could handle it so well and that I could make all these new friends and have all these wonderful opportunities, even though it's been such a crazy year. I got in this year, even though that seems like 3 billion years ago. It was at the beginning of the pandemic when I found out I got in.
The whole world found out from the shrieks of joy.
Right. And then I had no idea if I'd even be able to go. So I'm really, really fortunate that I could.
No, the projects that you've been sending home do look very weird. Everything is done in different rooms and spliced together and zoomed in masks and masks over masks, but and dance floors that are marked with tape where you have a 6-foot square around you and you're not allowed to leave your square. But I thought at least the 3 or 4 different occasions you guys are going to end up coming home, but you ended up sticking around, so that's really cool.
My man also went to a new school. It was the school of his bedroom.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how it
school
goes.
had a much harder time transitioning, but once they got on their feet, it was actually pretty good, and it worked. Although I had a lot more free time to myself, which didn't change much.
Yeah, he also you got a dog walking gig.
I did.
He stole my dog walking.
If anybody
gig.
needs their dog walk,
steal it, you left.
I'm
You
here. I see you over there.
duties. You abandoned.
1-888 dog walk.
Okay, well, so on the continuing on the trend of embarrassing them, Marko, with his extra time, finds the dorkiest hobbies, no different than his
Don't
father.
do this to me.
And so next thing you know, he's purchasing these tiny, teeny figurines. I mean, when I say small,
they're
this small.
They're like
this big.
They're like Connor
Give me
Sherry
a little
size.
slack here.
And he's painting them, making making armies and
I
collecting.
don't get sports.
I don't.
Nobody heard you.
They
I thought
did.
it's special.
I made a
we
Connor
get to
Sherry
talk.
joke. No one else got it.
Okay. I thought
That's
it was,
why they're here.
See, that's in every Java. This is a special
Okay,
Java.
all right. Anyway, we are.
We're not very good at this. We don't do it very
Yeah,
often.
we don't- we
Also,
don't-
pretty weird to get us all in one shot.
Yeah.
Like, look at this.
It's
How
a tight
awkward we look.
we we are grateful for also the health of our families, of our extended families, of my brother and his wife Emily having their first child.
That's bittersweet, though.
we
because,
still haven't
because
met
Zoya would have
this
been here
child.
with us, and,
Yeah.
and this is for Marko and Dara, the fourth.
Yeah.
The
Fourth
fourth
cousin.
niece cousin who they never
They've
met.
never met,
My
yeah.
my brothers are in Romania, so their children are there. So they have all these cousins. They have nothing more than
Right.
pictures and live streams of them.
But
that part is sad.
also for our older family, her mother's doing fine, and we're going to go see mine on Thanksgiving. From
What
Christmas.
Thanksgiving? He
did I
means
say
Christmas.
Thanksgiving?
You
Yeah.
did say
Did
Thanksgiving.
I
He
say
means
that I
Christmas.
feel like this business just opened like yesterday? I have
it's
no
Christmas.
concept of time
It's
anymore.
Christmas. It's going to be
Hockey
interesting.
season opens January 13 in Philadelphia, though I know that.
That he does not.
So
That's going to be interesting because obviously they are not allowed to have visits in any facility. So it's going to be some sort of a window.
yeah, you stand
Walk by,
outside.
so-
Yeah, you stand outside and communicate from outside the glass. You know what? This
We'll
year,
take it.
this year can't end soon enough. But at the same time, we hope you made it through okay. And for the millionth time, we're grateful that you stuck with us. Thank
And
you.
Merry Christmas and
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Holidays to those who don't celebrate Christmas. And we'll do this again next year.
If you're waiting for us to break out in song, we would only do the waitress's Christmas wrapping, and it's way too
Oh my
hard.
God. Continuing with the embarrassing note.
Exactly.